Hi, welcome to another Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce Member Connection. I'm Eric Knowles. Before we get started, a word from our sponsors.
This is garbage, and you probably think all of it just goes to waste. But in Miami-Dade, we convert most of what you throw away into energy. In our waste-to-energy facility, we can turn about 90% of your everyday garbage into reusable fuel.
Levels look good.
That creates clean electricity for our community. Enough energy to power 35,000 homes. Pretty illuminating, huh? In Miami-Dade, nothing goes to waste.
I'm back, and this is the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce Member Connection. And as I say, I'm always excited about our guests, members of the chamber, but the conversations that we have. And I have Mr. Junior Penn with FTO Mosquito Control and Pests. And, we live in South Florida, and you need to know this guy. If you don't know Junior, you're going to get to know him today. The rainy season is about to begin, and this is the guy to help you live in your backyard and in your property and not be eaten up by it. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys.
No, it's a pleasure to have you, man. You and I talk, I'm an outdoor guy. I'm into gardening. I'm into this whole thing of nature. But reading your bio, you talk about the fact that you're following behind your father's footsteps.
Absolutely. About 12 years ago, my father, after he retired from the military, he was offered an opportunity to work for some apartment complexes doing pest control. And he went ahead, took the chance. He says, I'm retired, I have time. And sure enough, he started the business back then in 2010, 2009. And then 2010, the end of 2010, I joined my father on the business.
Okay.
And from there, I started off with him. It's been a journey. It's a lot to learn. We know here in South Florida, I'm a pest. It's a necessity to treat our homes against pests. And yeah, during the journey, I have learned so much under my father. He taught me well as well. And essentially, the educating of our customers is being one of our most important way of dealing with the issues, with the pest issues in our homes. When we come in, we teach our customers how to avoid pests, what's the best avenue we can take, what approach we can take, what products will be used, and so forth.
Yeah, and when we first started, when I brought you on, we talked about mosquito, but actually, to your point, your business is much further beyond mosquitoes. As you said, it's pest control. And again, living in the climate that we live in here in South Florida, we have a lot of pests.
Absolutely.
One of the things that we talked about is whitefly out in the yard, but obviously inside the home.
That's correct.
I don't care where you live. Pretty much everybody's probably had a mouse run through their house.
That is true. That is certain.
It doesn't matter.
That is certain.
And because they're outside and sometimes they get in the house. So pests, palmetto bugs,
we have a lot of those. Yeah, we don't.
Flying cockroaches, and obviously the German roaches are the worst, right?
Absolutely. Those are the.
Talk about that a little bit. That's where, you say you go into somebody's house, they turn on the lights and all of
a sudden they go everywhere. Yeah, you see them on the couch, you see them on the bed, you see them everywhere.
Wow.
They will get out of control. So I tell folks, always get them early on. They are very fast reproductive.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yes, very fast reproductive pests. They will hide anywhere, clothing, shoes, bags, you name it. So
in people's cars,
especially people's car. Yes,
because a lot of people eat and they, they drop food in their car, and I don't even want to. I actually was in somebody's car, and yeah,
you'd be surprised. Yes, how often folks will call me to treat their cars, their vehicles, because they cannot control that. No matter how much they wash it, clean it, vacuum it, roaches will prevail. They will stay in the car for how many years it may come.
Wow.
So we had to hygiene is 70% of pest control.
Right.
The rest is just chemical, but
Like
just
I say,
70%.
hygiene,
Yes.
putting the garbage out at night, not letting garbage stay in the house. Again, not eating in your car.
Not in your car, washing your dishes every night,
Right.
wiping the countertops, especially mopping, sweeping weekly. Things like that can suppress the problem, and then but that's when they can call in and have me come in and take care of the rest. So education, as I mentioned before, is of utmost importance when it comes to pest management, and that's where I focus on, whether it's for interior pest control, roaches, bugs, rodents, and as well outdoor control, fire ants, whiteflies. You mentioned mosquito, which they know me by the mosquito guy. So that's it. Education is the utmost importance.
And when you talk about mosquitoes, just pests in general, obviously, like I said, I live on an acre of land, and I have trees everywhere, and I got plants everywhere. And it's almost something you can't avoid because pests are going to hide within the bushes, et cetera. And as you said, having bromeliads, I'm a big fan of bromeliads, and they hold water, even though they're beautiful. And they do create that atmosphere for mosquito larvae to grow. What do you say for someone who has those type of plants? What should they be doing?
So I will encourage them to follow Miami-Dade County draining cover. They have a website on their website. They have a solutions approach that residents or homeowners can do. Steps they can follow when they have this type of plants, which is a lot has to do with emptying the plant or watering it. Just pouring, just rinsing the plants with water will actually do rinse the larvae out of the plant.
Okay.
Yes.
So actually, that's a good point. Never thought about it from that point. So you're actually saying water the plant, so that'll wash out what's inside. Good point.
But the size. So mosquito larvae, they do not breed in moving water. So you are by far obstructing their growth and their development. So it's very important. That's one way of approach. We do have products like larviciding, which is eco-friendly. You can more than the same one I use at your house. The same one, that's a good approach to sprinkle those things on it. And Miami-Dade County will actually come to your home, and depending on where you are living, on Dade County they will come to your home, inspect the property for you, and tell you places where you can work at, where things you have to drain and cover. That's why we have the hashtag fight the bite.
Okay.
So my fundamental approach as a business owner, and when it comes to mosquito control, it are the same fundamental approach that Miami-Dade County has, which is, again, the larviciding, the draining and covering anything that might breed mosquitoes, and also educating the customers, which a lot of education goes into it.
So when you say educating the customer, how do you go through that process?
First and foremost, I go into the property and I just search and find anything in any probable places where mosquito can breed. That is containers or buckets. And one that a lot of folks are overlooking are the gutters. Gutters have been the number one in my field of experience, number one breeder of mosquitoes. Why? Because they are not at eyesight distance.
Right.
They're generally overlooked. So my job is to talk to the customers and ask them, when was the last time you cleaned your gutters? Something you can do it on the weekends. When was the last time you cleaned your backyard? It should be done often, and things of that nature. So that's my education. Also, I can tell them, what about the grooming of your backyard, the cleaning of all debris, the cleaning of your trees and pruning, and so forth. Because even trunks on the tree will breed mosquitoes if you don't do it. If you don't do the cut right, they'll make a hole, and that hole mosquitoes will breed there. So it's a lot of education. It's just one of many, few of many that steps that and educational tips that I give the homeowners. And yeah.
So and again, when you talk about mosquitoes, again, South Florida, I mean, they're everywhere. I mean, not just here. But what is the minimal amount of water that a mosquito can breed in?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. They just about a cap full of a bottle of water can breed up to 60 mosquitoes.
Wow.
That's a lot of mosquitoes. So that's why it's important to maintain our backyard clean. After we cut the lawn, we make sure we pick up everything, including the bottle,
The bottle cap.
the bottle cap. You have to pick up and maintain the yard clean.
So to your point, so if somebody that's dropped the bottle cap, it's upside down, water fills in it, you can have 60 mosquitoes coming out of it.
And that will be a trouble. That will be a problem. So that's why the cleaning and keeping your backyard clean, just out of any debris, is so important. You never know what's hiding under dead leaves. That's another issue I'm having with customers. Usually they just pile up leaves, they just blow it to the corner, and under there they have a bucket of paint that they used 2-3 years ago, and it's just full of water breeding mosquitoes. So I have to educate them about the cleaning and the grooming, which has nothing to do with my line of work, but I had to educate to help the customers.
Yeah. Again, being in South Florida, obviously during the winter, it gets cooler, so you don't have as much the mosquitoes, but then you have the rodents and whatever that are trying to get out of the cold into the house.
That's right.
How do you deal, or how do you engage with your customers as far as protecting their homes to keep rodents out?
So there is a process that we follow, pest control industry, and it's called exclusion work, which is finding places where rodents might find their way in. Generally, we deal with the roof rat, is what we call here in South Florida.
Roof rat.
Yes, and those are jumpers. I mean, they can jump 5 feet, no problem.
Don't even matter.
Don't even matter. So so that's why it's such a problem. And then they can, as small as a quarter-size hole, and an adult-grown roof rat can fit right on through.
Wow.
A quarter-size hole.
I'm glad you're mentioning that. That's one of the things, because again, I have a lot of plants in my house and palm trees up against the house. So you really need to make sure you're cutting things away from the house. But back to your point of what you're saying, a roof rat can climb up a tree and basically jump 5 feet to the roof.
That's exactly. And they can find any type of hole in the house. And that's why the exclusion work is so important to be done, whether the homeowner does it or the company does it, because that's what access point you're giving them. By simply sealing, going around, seeing what areas might be worked, leaving doors open overnight, it's a problem. Windows, sometimes you have the vents from the roofs here in South Florida. We have the breather vents. Those are very important that we can close them up.
Right.
Close them up, especially with the metal enclosing.
So those, like you said, the breather vents on top of your roof. And basically that's to help keep the roof cool.
Ventilated, yes.
Ventilated, keep the ventilation going. But you're saying that the roof rats go inside those?
Yes, they actually will. If it's not sealed properly, they can actually climb right on through.
Wow.
So we have to be careful areas where they can find themselves in. And like you mentioned earlier, they're mainly active inside the homes during the winter times. The reason why rodents are outdoor pests, but when it gets cold, we all want to go inside, and they behave the same way.
Wow. And I know basically rodents, they run along a wall for the most part. They're not going to run out in the open.
Yes.
So along the borders of your house, what suggestions, are there any suggestions for that?
Yes. So we provide what we call rodent bait stations, outdoor rodent bait stations, where they are. Where we place them is actually on the edges of the property, and allows that for rodents and roof rats in this case to come in, smell the poison, eat it, and then died of it. So those are the management we take to for rodents.
Okay. And what about the one-off raccoon or
Oh man, that's we talk. We're going into another
do you
subject,
deal with
but,
that? Do you deal with that at all?
I do have I do have other companies that deal with that with animal and critter controls.
Right.
Reason why they just catch them and then release somewhere else. That's where mainly they do. Um, but yes, I heard there's a lot of issues with that lately. And more than welcome to call me, and I'll refer
Well, I'm
someone else.
calling you now because I have a problem with the raccoon going in my pool and doing this thing in my pool.
Oh man, we gotta take care of that.
We got to take care of that.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, I come out in the morning and there's this big pile on the step inside. Not on the step, inside the pool.
Inside the pool.
Yeah, I
man.
didn't know raccoons did it in the pool, but or in what? That's what they've been doing.
Well, that's news to me. But
Yeah. We got to fix that.
We got to fix that.
So, what would you say is the biggest challenge with living in South Florida when it comes to pests?
The biggest challenge is that we are year-round pest state.
Okay.
Just from I'll give you a little statistics. From West Palm South, we have 1/3 of all United States pests that there is.
Really?
All because of the swamp, all because of the weather condition, and all because of the beaches on the side, swamps and all mangroves and so forth. So that's why. And in fact, the University of Florida started dealing with pests. That's back in the early 1900s. So can't quote me on that, but they started because dealing with pests. Pests has been an issue for a long time, and those are the biggest challenges because of the conditions are perfect for pests.
When it comes to storms, obviously our homes are open. A lot of things happen during storms. Do you get engaged, or is there anything that you do to mitigate pest control when the storms, or trying to understand that whole process?
So yes, when we have storms, we have what we call flow water mosquitoes, which will be your Aedes aegypti and Aedes albopictus, which are the known carrier of dengue, Zika virus, and also we have the amongst other malaria. But those flow water mosquitoes can be avoided by keeping the yard up tight and clean before the storm. That's why we had to make sure, supervise, inspect our property before the storm, so that way nothing is laying around after it that may potentially breed mosquitoes. So that was one approach that we can take in South Florida before the storms.
Floodwater mosquitoes. That's the new saying. So basically, from the storms, you basically have water sitting.
That's correct.
Are the mosquitoes any different than regular mosquitoes, but you just because of the water sitting?
So Aedes aegypti and albopictus both are known to be always found in cities. The Sun District are known to have those, and North Miami are known to have those because they are containers breeders and tires, so such things of that nature. So after the flood, after the rain, heavy rain, that's when they start coming out, breathing and coming out. So that's why the importance of keeping the yard clean.
So different mosquitoes have different times when they come out?
Yes. Really? We have.
So mosquito, this isn't a mosquito.
Mosquitoes is all actually mainly throughout the day, but there's only one type of mosquito, Aedes albopictus, that is a day biter. They call them the tiger mosquito. It's called tiger because it's aggressive, and usually those are ankle biters. So those are you will find during the hot heat of the day.
Okay.
But nighttime, dusk and dawn is the active for the rest of the mosquitoes.
Wow.
Yeah.
I learned something new there. That's for sure. Well, if someone wants to get in touch with you, how can they do that?
Absolutely. They can call us at 305-987-4919. And also they can reach out to our email is ftopestcontrol@gmail.com.
And this has been very enlightening, Junior. I appreciate you coming on. This has been the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce Member Connection. And you have been here with FTO Mosquito Control and Pests. And if you want to learn more about the Chamber, you can go to www.m-dcc.org, or you can call the chamber at 305-751-8648.